Hi, and welcome to part 16 of my Python programming for beginners. So today we're going to look at some more methods that we can execute on strings. These methods you can also execute on lists as well. I just find them useful, especially after going through the reading and writing of text files, just because usually those involve a lot of strings, and you might want to find something inside of a text file, so you could use these methods to find or count a certain amount of characters. So let's go ahead and let's get started here. So we're going to be taking a look at two methods. We're going to be taking a look at .count and .find. So let's go ahead and let's start here. So I'm going to initialize a string here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do in equals input. And we're just going to do please enter your name. And in is probably a reserved keyword. So let's just take intake as our variable here. And let's go ahead and let's do print intake dot count. And we're just going to do a here. And then we're going to do print intake dot find, and we're going to do t here. Actually, we're going to do r. Yes, that should work. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look here. So we're just going to put the name here as JackedProgrammer, and we're going to get the results back. So really what this count function, this count method, what it does, it will take the string and it will count the amount of times that A has occurred in it. So if we take our string JackedProgrammer, we have one A and then we have two A's, which give us the output of 2. And then for the intake.find, this will find the first iteration of the character or string that you put in it. So for us, it was M. So the first instance of M is this one right here, which is that index 13. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Because Python always begins at index 0. So now you might be wondering, why would I want to use these methods? Well, one of them would be if we say, please enter a password. And we know that a password is not allowed spaces. So what we could do is we could do if intake dot count space is greater than 0. Then we could do print not a valid password. And then what we can do is we can do else print valid password. So let's go ahead and let's try this here. So we're just going to enter the password of test1234 with the space in the middle, and we get not a valid password here. So let's try that one more time with just test1234, and we get a valid password. Now, what you could do is eventually when you would learn regular expressions, you could use regular expressions to use these functions a little bit more, to just be able to find patterns or anything like that as well. So these two methods are quite useful and they do work on lists as well. So if I do a list here, and let's just do A, 1, 2, 3, B, and then we're going to do dot find 2. Oops. I believed they were on lists, but it could be wrong here. Let me just double check. They might only be on strings. All right, so it is only for strings. There is an equivalent function for lists, and that will be index of 2. And then if we look at that here, and we put this in, and we just need to print that out here. So we get 2, which is 0, 1, 2, which is the index of 2, which ends up kind of weird because it's there. But if I do B here, we're going to get 4, which is at index 4. Now, what if we take, for example, print intake dot find, and let's try to find an A, and we're going to put in a input that does not have an A. So we're going to do test here. We see that we get -1. So if we do a dot find and the character is not found, it will always return a negative as it's just not in the string. Otherwise, it will always return either a positive integer from 0 to the length of the string if it does find it. But if it does not find it, it will always return a -1. Whereas count, if it doesn't find it, will just return 0. But if it does find 1 or multiple, it will return the total number of iterations that that character or string is inside of the input string. Whereas find will only find the first one, and you could, in fact, use a for loop to find multiples by doing some string manipulations. We're not going to get into that, as this is really just meant to kind of expose you to these two methods. And after this, the next couple of videos, we're going to be focusing on creating different functions, creating classes, creating objects, modularizing the code in Python. So be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when those come out. Because once we do those, that will basically cover all the basics of Python that you would need to use different modules like Pygame or Pandas, which Pandas, if you guys don't know, is a data kind of like a data scientist kind of tool set for Python. It really lets you do a lot of data manipulation easy with different types of collections. And then Pygame is a very, very popular module for Python for making 2D, well, usually 2D games. And it's actually fairly simple to use. I know there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube. I might also do one. I haven't used it too much, so I would definitely have to do some research in it and make a couple projects beforehand. But if you guys have any other suggestions or ideas that you guys would like to see as a video of me explaining it, definitely feel free to let that in the comment section. I'm also working on a couple more PowerShell videos for you guys because I know that you guys seem to really enjoy those, and especially the Hyper-V ones as well. So I might even do a combination of PowerShell and Hyper-V, which I know has nothing to really do with Python, but I just figured I would mention it in this video. So be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified when those come out, and I will see you on the next video.